That's Leslie.
And that's Christy.
And we're going indie.
Yay! And today we are going to talk about genre and all the ins and outs really quickly.
Yes, really quickly. And I think this is why knowing your genre is so important, because sometimes people are like, well, I'm just going to write my story. I don't need to know where it fits or what the genre is. And I think that that's wrong. Because I don't think genre is about, like, it's not about you. Genre is about the
right,
reader.
right. I was just thinking as you were saying that genre is this, like, there's like these really big categories that go under genre. Like genre is these big categories. I think where
Yeah.
people, readers and writers, get mixed up is kind of in that subgenre place.
Mhm.
And so, and then it matters, maybe a little bit less as you kind of go. But
Yes.
then because people say, oh, I had a friend who wrote a book. We have a friend who wrote a book, and she was like, everybody says it's a romance. It's not a romance. It's women's fiction. And everybody was like, "It's a romance." I mean, all my friends that read the book said it was a romance, and she was like horrified that she had written a romance. I don't know why. Romance is fantastic.
It
But
is.
anyways, and all good stories, including nonfiction stories, have a romance in them if they're good. So there you
Absolutely.
go.
Romance is like, it's the best.
So bad.
But speaking of that, like the whole idea of the genre and subgenre. So I write essentially kind of romantic comedy. I write lighthearted, funny romance. Now, I have a subgenre of historical and subgenre of contemporary, but they're still within the same genre. And
Yeah.
I think when I define genre, it's the set of reader expectations. A genre is a set of reader expectations. That's what I think of when I think of a genre.
Right. So are those expectations, we can even see them as like rules for what you do in when you're writing that story, because that's what the reader expects. And when you don't do those things, the reader is disappointed, and that is not good.
No, that's when they troll you in your reviews because they're mad.
Yeah. So we don't
Because
want to
they
do that.
didn't get what they expected. And the thing is, like, I really hesitate to call them rules because some people really, really don't like that. They're like, I don't want to be defined. I don't want to be boxed in. Um, Here's the thing though, you are not the exception to the rule.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
aren't
Yeah.
following the rules, then you're writing a different genre.
Right. And so
Like,
you're gonna write it, you're going to write in a genre, whether you want to or not.
yes.
So you can either do the thing that readers are going to appreciate and understand and come back for, or you need to
Mhm.
market differently so that you get different readers because you're writing in a different genre.
Right.
And like I was saying
Yes.
that I am reading a book for my book club right now, and it was not a book that I would have ever picked, but it's a psychological thriller. This is like the third one we've read. I would never pick these books ever, ever. And
Yeah.
this is the third one
Mhm.
we've read, and like over like several years. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this book is exactly like the other ones. This is ridiculous. I can't stand it. But they just write the same thing. And then I'm like, wait, shoot, so do you. And so like, so that I love, I could read 1,000 like romantic comedies or lighthearted
Absolutely.
romance or whatever you want to call it, lighthearted women's fiction. I could read them all day long, and they are very similar. Hello,
Yep.
Hallmark Channel, like you get the idea. But I love it, so I don't care. But I don't
Yes.
like
Yes.
these psychological thrillers, and so I care now. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so
Yeah.
obvious. I just know what they're going to do again.
Yes, and I think that's one of those things. So if you look at a genre and you're like, oh my gosh, they're all the same. Like, so is your genre. Like,
Yeah.
that's really important to recognize, is that's just how it works. And so let's take the romance genre, because I'm pretty solidly in the romance genre. You are like half a foot. You have like 1 foot in romance genre land. Um, so let's just take romance as an idea. It's the largest genre of fiction out there. Um, and the big rule of romance is that it ends happily.
Yay.
Like the couples together. It's either happily ever after or at least like happily furred out. Like you think that you at least have belief that this couple's going to make it. you
Right.
know. Um,
Exactly.
like that's one of the defining characteristics. And anybody who tells you differently is wrong.
Yes. It just is
Yeah,
that simple. They're just wrong.
they're just wrong. Like, even Nicholas Sparks. Okay, take Nicholas Sparks, like one of the biggest selling authors ever. Like, he will tell you, it's even on his website. Like, he doesn't write romance. He writes love stories. He does not write romance. Like, it's like in the top question in his frequently asked questions page. And because his books don't end happy. They have like a whole ending. It's a whole story. It's a satisfying
Right.
ending, but it's not happy, especially not for that couple.
That's good.
Most
I'm
of the
not always
time, somebody's
satisfied.
dying. Yes. Well, I mean, the story's complete,
Yeah. Yeah.
if you like your books sad, it's a complete story, but it's not a romance. Um, and so I think that's the thing. Is like, if you are going to violate the rules, then you're not writing in that genre.
Correct.
Stop trying to tell people that you are, because if you don't like it, then that just means that's not your genre. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, don't expect the readers to be happy about you dissing what they love.
Yeah. Own your genre. Like own it. And be
Yes.
like, it's what you like to read. It's what you're going to write. And I think that's I think that's probably really more important, or like not more important, but one of the most important things about genre is to read in your genre. Because if you don't, you are going to end up writing things that are either mixed up, or I don't know,
Mhm.
like people are not going to love it and you're not going to love it. And it's going to be harder. And it's just, you're creating a situation for yourself that makes no sense. So just do it,
Right.
what you love. Why not do what you love?
So we tweaked your genre a couple years ago,
Right.
and your writing has been just like so much better since then. I mean, like, you were a good writer before, and now your stuff is great. Because we tweaked it to a little bit more, and this is, if you're not, this is mostly for authors, so this should all make sense
Yeah.
to you. We tweaked you a little more to the women's fiction side, with heavy romantic elements. There's a lot of romance in it, but it's women's fiction because you're only focusing on her story now.
Right. Mostly.
And I mean, he's got a story. He's
Yeah.
there,
He's
but
got a story,
I
but it's
mean,
more about what happens to her. Yeah. And and I will say this, we met a girl, an author. Sorry, a girl. Sorry, that's just a Southern thing I do. Anyways, we met an author, Bridget. I can't remember her last name right now, at a conference. And she said she writes romancy women's fiction. Or and I was like, romancy women's fiction. Ding, 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 ding. I was like,
yeah.
that's what I write. And it was such a relief to have like something I could put on it, a name that I could call
Mhm.
it so that it didn't confuse people, mostly writers and some readers.
Yes.
But I know how to I
Yes.
can now, even like I've been picking out book covers for my book that's coming out in May. And I'm like, okay, I
Yeah.
don't want it to look like these current rom-commy romance, contemporary romances. I told the
Right.
book cover designer, I was like, I want it to look slightly different, like more this author right here, because she writes more like me. And they look different.
Yes.
They're just a little bit different. And if you know the difference, you know the difference. But I think it will
But
speak to the
also,
right reader.
yeah, read, because that's the thing, is you want to find your reader. Now, there's going to be a very large crossover between your readership and my readership. Like,
Right.
so the marketing going to be very similar, but like you said, the cover is, you want the cover to portray the feel of the book. Like,
Mhm.
there's nothing that annoys me more than if I pick up the little cute cartoony rom-commy like cover and it's a drama.
Yeah, no, that makes me
Like,
mad.
I'm like, what is this? Because
Yeah.
that's not the genre. That's not the expectations of the genre. And so the idea of genre is not to put your book in a box. It's to help you find your reader.
Yeah. Yeah. And it directs everything you do for that book. It directs how you market it. It directs how your book cover, it directs even your title, your font. I
Mhm.
mean, it affects everything that you do. So you need to know what it is.
Yeah, because you're gonna brand your website to
Yes.
target the readers who like this genre. So if you target all the romance people and you write your back cover copy like it's a romance and you do all this, but we as the reader don't meet the guy until the 50% mark, like man, we're mad.
Yeah. And I read a
Like,
book like that one time, and I think I just met you at the time, and I was like, I don't understand why anybody. I was like, this is not a romance. This is not a romance. Why do they keep saying it's a romance? And I
yes,
was not
like I
happy.
mean, it's like if you sell it as a romance, it better be mostly about that couple. Like
Right.
that's what you're selling. And so I don't think I think a lot of people don't want to be labeled because they don't want to feel like they're confined. But the thing is, if you want readers, you need to know what they're looking for. Because if they don't know what your book is, they're not going to pick it up.
Right.
And if they pick it up and it's not what you promised, they are going to let you know in the reviews. And you don't want either one of those things.
Nope.
So,
We're just trying to help you.
so let us know what your genre is and what you think are
Yeah.
the top two rules for your genre. So if
Oh,
you write
yes. That sounds
suspense or
great.
if you write, whatever it is you write, um, let us know what your genre is and what you think are the top two rules that define that genre. And we'll all learn how to find some books together.
Yay.